Thank you, Ceann Comhairle, and I'm very happy to be here to have the opportunity today to discuss this particular issue about public expenditure relating to COVID and about our economy in general. The last number of weeks we've started to see Irish society and large businesses and the government as well starting to come to terms with just how long we're going to be living with the COVID-19 virus, and starting to put a plan in place as how we're going to continue doing our business. And certainly a factor that needs to be addressed ahead of the upcoming budget is how we're going to continue to foot the bill for the enormous financial cost that COVID-19 has been for our country. There's been a lot of different suggestions and ideas being put forward. I know that what's contained within the programme for government, Ceann Comhairle, is a review of the National Development Plan as one of the first major actions of this government, and that's certainly something that I am very much looking forward to having an opportunity to engage with. We heard some discussion yesterday around the idea of creating employment and generating an economic stimulus on a balanced regional basis around working on shovel-ready projects, which there are many contained within my own constituency in Cork East that will have to go before this department for a decision to be made on. We know I've had significant discussion just a few moments ago. I was on the phone with the Minister for Education discussing some of these projects within my own constituency. For example, we've seen planning permissions which have been very, very controversial in many ways in relating to secondary schools in the Mallow area and Carrituhill area finally coming to completion, and they're ready for tendering. And I'm really happy to report this morning to the House on discussions with the Minister that these projects should be going out to tender as early as January or February of next year, which is very, very significant and will be a major boost to the local economy if the Department of Public Expenditure will recognise that these capital projects need to be undertaken. And that they would be very, very important to try and create employment in local areas, while also tackling some of the major social issues. In the constituency in Cork East, where I'm really honoured to be here to represent, there are many, many different issues that repeatedly have been coming up, because we have a major infrastructure deficit, Ceann Comhairle. And we've seen many wonderful plans. I suppose originally as a child growing up we saw Transport 2021. I think on a regional basis we've seen the Cork Metropolitan Transport Area Strategy, which has billions of capital allocated towards addressing transport issues in and around Cork County and the city and the metropolitan area. And I think there's a great opportunity there when the National Development Plan is being reviewed to try and bring as many of these projects forward while borrowing is cheap. I think it's going to be the opportunity cost of not doing anything on that would be deeply concerning. I honestly feel that we have to try and look at areas that perhaps missed out when the last National Development Plan was actually being put in place. And I know that the Minister of Responsibility for this department is going to be putting a very significant amount of effort into ensuring that deputies from, I think, all sides of the House will have some degree of engagement with that. Also, I was raising a number of issues in the last number of months with Minister McGrath around the requirement for upgrading road infrastructure for the town of All. Ceann Comhairle, I know you're very familiar with my part of the world, which suffered enormous economic hardship with over 4,000 jobs being lost at the turn of the millennium because of the textile industry and low-skilled labour relocating to Eastern Europe. And I suppose there is good news out there. It's not all negative. The largest cash investment or the capital investment ever in the town will be taking place in the very near future with the air grid interconnector between Ireland and France. I know we'll be discussing our focus around renewable energy and tackling climate change later in the House today. And I think we need to delve into projects that are already ongoing and figuring out how economies like Youghal and Middleton and Killa, my part of the world really, my municipal district where I was elected as a councillor first a number of months ago, would actually benefit from such projects. I also think I have to say it here in the House, Ceann Comhairle, that there's been a great degree of negativity by some local representatives in the constituency in Cork East around what's going on. But in reality, when you look at what's on the table and up for discussion in the next number of months, it is a very, very exciting period of time for the community I'm representing. We have school projects that are ongoing. We have a massive school capacity crisis in East Cork. It was well documented, and I have to be very complimentary to the Minister for Education for her work to date on that particular problem. I found when I was in the doors, it was one of the ones that was repeatedly coming up, and the consequences of such were devastating in many cases, where families had to move or actually travel great distances to find access to secondary school, and particularly kids with special needs. A problem in Youghal, for example, there's no specific ASD adult education centres or day facilities in that particular part of the constituency. And I think when we are reviewing the NDP, we should start looking at that particular issue and to see if funding can be found to be to put into that particular area. And you know, I honestly feel as well that for younger people, we know of a massive problem with unemployment at the moment. They need opportunities. We need to find work for them. And there's been thousands of people returning to Ireland on account of the fact that this is an international economic crisis that we are dealing with, and their livelihoods have been very much put into turmoil because of it. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to actually utilise the NDP review and the budget this year to see if we can bring home more of the people that we lost in the previous recession and to try and integrate them back into our society and our economy as well. And for that to happen, we need to build houses, we need to build schools, hospitals and the public services that are so desperately needed. And I'm going to be putting my shoulder to the wheel with members of Cabinet on that, and I don't plan on wasting a single day while Fianna Fáil are in government to ensure that we are taking every opportunity available to us. It is a very much a big honour to be here. I'm aware there's a lot of expectation on the government to pick up from perhaps a rocky start, and I very much do look forward to working with the ministers in the weeks ahead as we prepare for the budget. I also would like to thank the Minister McGrath as well for his engagement on the issue of the issues facing Cork Airport. We had a very strong discussion there around the Task Force Aviation report that was being done by the Department of Transport, and I feel that there is a need for a kind of a multi-department approach to try and deal with that report. It just can't be done by the Department of Business and the Department of Public Expenditure. I think that it deserves a conversation at the Cabinet table. I've been in contact with a lot of the workers there. I mentioned it here in the House yesterday, and they're in a very serious situation, and we need to recognise just how much that's worth to the Department of Public Expenditure annually in terms of the tax revenues that are coming in from the airline industry and from the aviation sector as well. And it does help fund a serious amount of projects that goes on a grassroots level in our economy. And it's very important that in areas like that where there is scope to bring in tax revenues rather than raising taxes on ordinary citizens, that we would put some degree of concentration in figuring out how we're going to recover those sectors. It's very, very important. And I would finish up on that, and Thank you.